Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F1 22 Drive Trimmer with McLaren, episode number 59 today for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix Season 4, round number 5. If you missed the previous episode at Imola, I recommend you go and check that one out as well, because there was some contact with a certain Lewis Hamilton in that one. R&D wise, just applying the final non-durability upgrades that we can purchase in the final, and that's going to go straight on the car, so we will technically have a full maxed out car, other than some stuff from Porsche that's still to come later in the season as well. We've also got an Ask the Drivers feature as well, which is the F1 22 equivalent of an interview. We visit some amazing circuits and some boring circuits on the F1 calendar. Which are your favourites? And I prefer historic circuits. I'm sorry to say, you know, I'll take Hockenheim over Las Vegas any day of the week. I know some people would say otherwise, but that's just my opinion, really. Spa and Silverstone as well, two greats there. So you know, you can't beat. Yes, there have been some modern greats like Jeddah, for example. That is a good track for racing, but the majority of them, you know, prefer racing on historical circuits. There, when you're karting in a lower formula, how confident were you that we made it Formula One? Well, it's an F1 game. We knew had the talent to buy F1 22 without a huge amount of hard work. Anyway, away from that, qualifying is going to be wet, so that's going to be horrific to struggle through, depending on how much wet it is. But those two ultimate upgrades, because remember there were also an ERS upgrade that also came through as well from the previous episode, they have both gone on, and that is pretty much where we are. Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull also brought upgrades but fallen slightly behind. Alpine yet again struggling, and those bottom 5 are also catching them. Just a quick note, I forgot to fix the tyre allocation. It turns out it was on the hardest one for some reason. I don't understand why it was fixed on that, so that was another glitch, but that's been fixed now, so it means we can, when it's a dry qualifying, have 2 runs on the soft compound tyre, which is good. Back to doing that again and try and get the best out of qualifying. But anyway, speaking of qualifying, and it's not going well. It seems that this is now on F1 22. I do find that the player can have a good qualifying in the wet, but only when it's sort of that light rain to dry period. This is a qualifying where it's on the balance, but just less wet enough, if that's a particular phrase, to not be to have inters, but it's on the verge of a full wet qualifying, and that's where the AI on this year's game are particularly OP, and that's why we've fallen to P16 after our first run. A bit corner cut there. As I say, Baku used to be a good track for me, but on this year's game the AI are just OP through traction zones, so even after they attempted to fix it, which they didn't do it as well as they could have done, and we're down to P18 now as we come through this section with the AI. Always get traction, no matter how good your traction you are. Through this horrible corner, and always got to avoid it out of the barrier. Even the AI have crashed there in the past, but none of them have done that today. When you got Latifi behind, we can't be out qualified by Latifi in a Haas that hasn't really done anything in the 4 seasons so far. Always a bit sketchy through those 2 corners, especially with tyre wear, I find. But through the wet weather as well, it was a bit nervy, because you have to lift off, you can't go full throw up to the line, shortest route, and it's only P14. Pathetic qualifying, miserable qualifying really. But that is, you know, how close the grid is, 1.4 seconds, but we're 1.2 off our teammate. That is annoying. Yeah, it's just, it seems just have no pace in the wet in those conditions. So yeah, we'll have to see what we can do. It's time for the race for today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners, and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1, leading to a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Verstappen, Lando Norris and Russell, Vettel, Hamilton, Ocon and Pierre Gasly, Magnussen, Albon, Mick Schumacher, Phoenix, Bottas, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda and Guan Yu Zhou, Latifi and Robert Schwartzman. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
So here we are down on the grid. Race strategy is going to be a one-stop, and we're going to change it up a bit and start on the mediums, because it's actually 2,000th of a second slower than the softer medium. So I think we can do that. Hope some people get stuck in the traffic later on. We can overcut quite a lot of the people ahead of us. 5 red lights then for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and away we go. And it's a mediocre start. Schumacher gets in front of us. We're going to try and dart down the inside of 3 cars. The 2 AlphaTauris, don't want to get involved with them at turn 1, although you'll pinch them all the way to the inside there. Trying to have a look, we've got a Porsche Williams up our inside. We're going to turn it to the outside on Magnussen, and lovely little move. Magnussen coming back. We know how fast that AlphaTauri is in a straight line, even if it has got a Renault powered engine in the back of it in season 1. Can we turn it defensive to attack on Gasly? Yes, we can. Up to P10, a great start. We'll get a replay of that because I think Magnussen went past his teammate as well, because we went past Gasly to put him a bit wide, to be fair, but that is, you know, the nature of that corner with a bit of understeer in the car there. Try not to do that, as we're going to dive down the inside of Ocon, and Magnussen is in front of his teammate. Now now we've got past both AlphaTauris, we've got a buffer of Ocon. That is crucial because those AlphaTauris are bullets in a straight line, because that's what we built that car to be back in season 2. Even if they've had a change of engine and the engine regulations since then, the aero is sashing. You can see Magnussen now trying to get in front of Esteban Ocon, all of them squabbling over the final points paying position. P10, this is going to play into our hands. We're just going to be able to pull away from this lot, from that. Meanwhile, up the front, it's still Sainz and Piastri as well, which is crucial for our damage limitation. Verstappen now is in front of Leclerc. Leclerc also starting on mediums, but whether or not he's doing the Ferrari, I'm calling it the Ferrari strategy. It's not. It's just the AI strategy. As we're going to dart down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. That's a lovely little move compared to Gasly's move. Lap 4, we're going to make the same move on Hamilton though, but this time a little bit too deep into that corner. Didn't want to go too deep as that, but nevertheless Hamilton doesn't fight back as Marcus offered us a Jeff strategy. Maybe they're secretly communicating with each other to offer us the same strategy of pitting on lap 8 or lap 8. I think we'll pit on lap 8. Yes, just to know, as everyone pits, except Leclerc. We tried to have a look around the outside there, nothing doing there. Our gearbox is ever so slightly warm, so it's probably the last race we'll be using. Definitely the last race we'll be using it. It's just I forgot to change it after. It's not going to cause an issue for us. I don't think, unless it might. You know, it's only like 58% warm, so. Or 60% I think it is warm up to now, but it should be able to get us the remaining 4 laps this Grand Prix on soft tyres. We've come out annoyingly behind Hamilton and Leclerc, so this overcut strategy hasn't worked, which is very annoying. We've come out in front of Vettel though, as well. Gasly is the one in the occupying the top 10 spot. I don't know what's happened to Max. I think as we're going to instantly get in front of Leclerc, we cannot be stuck behind him on his woeful hard tyres. So next up is Hamilton, and just like we did at Belgium in Season 2 and Season 3, it's time to unleash the power of what we got. Not quite the 225 mile an hour, but 222 mile an hour in a straight line. That is some biblical speed, and Hamilton, you know, that Mercedes has not had the pace in straight lines over this entire career mode really. They have improved, but it's nothing to match. We were able to easily pass him around the outside as he goes defensive. Thank you very much. And up to P6. A lovely move there. Next up will be George Russell in the other Mercedes, and hopefully this will be a lot easier than Hamilton, as well as the we haven't got much ERS to play with, but it does regenerate quite well. So although we're draining it quite well, so it's at a purple final sector, we've already set a purple lap as well, so that's going to help no damage limitation over Piastri, who's miles in front of Sainz there. There's a replay of a different overtake, taking position at turn 1. As well. Now we try to line up Lando Norris. There is Piastri. He's comfortable. He's heading to his 3rd Grand Prix win of the season. He's come out of nowhere. He hasn't been racing the previous 3 seasons at all, and it's a breath of fresh air from McLaren compared to what Daniel Ricciardo was doing, and not even getting in the top 10 half the time through that first half. To be fair to Ricciardo, we did improve. But alas, compared to Lando Norris, it's not what that car is capable of doing, and we're just going to make another easy overtake on Lando Norris, up to P4, which is unfortunately the maximum today, as well as there is Yuki Tsunoda, and Yuki's going slowly. That's a little bit concerning. Same engine in the back of the McLaren as it in the back of the Williams, both Porsche power cars. That's a little bit concerning about the durability for maybe later down the line. We'll have to wait and see about that. But for us, P4, which, after a dreadful qualifying, I'll definitely take it. But this is a race that we've been targeting a race win, because we haven't won since we've only won 1 race now this entire season. Piastri's won 3. So damage limitation, we got that fastest lap. We were in control. Leclerc had a shocker down to P8. The overcut strategy wasn't the one, I don't think, today. Perhaps we could have had a better race if we'd started on the softs, but I wanted to make the most of the soft tyre and get that fastest lap, just in case we didn't make those positions up, because it's quite easy to get stuck in the DRS train and hard to overtake. So Piastri cuts my lead to 5 points, Sainz is 13 points, and then there's quite a gap now, 36 points to the likes of Leclerc, Russell, and Norris is 52 points behind. As well, the constructors, there's a fight for 2nd place going on, and that's pretty much it. Alpine have been cut adrift really, because Norris isn't able to get the best out of the car, and neither is Esteban Ocon, who only got P10 today. So I've got a new rival, by the way, in the form of Max Verstappen, who beat us because he finished on the podium. So it's 6-4 to him so far, but it's early days in that rivalry as well. We're up to level 18 on the claim as well. So yes, that's where I'm going to leave it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I see plenty more F122 Drive Crew Mode, especially Thursday's episode at Canada. Yeah, you don't want to be missing that one, I can tell you now. Little spoiler alert there for you to look forward to. So until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.